I study how real estate agents price their service. So if people decide to sell their house or their apartment, they may wish to get the help of a real estate agent. And in exchange for that service, the real estate agent receives a commission, which in essence is just the percentage value or the commission rate of the final selling price. Yet in Germany, this commission rate is a bit strange because most agents charge the same commission rate. This commission rate has remained constant over the past 20 years, although you would expect technological progress to reduce that rate. And the commission rate is much higher than in other countries. And these initial observations motivated me to dig a bit deeper here. I study a legal reform in Germany, which technically only shifted the obligation of who must pay the real estate agent. Internationally quite unique, before the reform in Germany, the seller hired the real estate agent and the seller also incentivized the real estate agent to work in the favor of the seller, yet the buyer had to pay the entire commission. This was seen as somewhat problematic, and the legal reform changed that in the sense that sellers now have to pay at least as much of the commission as buyers do. And what I do now is I look at 500,000 online listings around the reform, which allows me to statistically isolate the trajectory of commission rates to understand those a bit better. I find that in response to the legal reform that was aimed at increasing competition, prices and commission rates of real estate agents did not decrease, but actually increased, and did so substantially. So previously, before the reform, real estate agents in many regions charged either 4, 5 or 6% as a commission rate. And remember, they charged this only from the buyer. What I see after the reform is that many real estate agents that previously charged 4 or 5% from the buyer now charge 3% from both sides, buyers and sellers, raising the total commission rate to 6%. And although this increase sounds relatively small, remember that this applies to the final selling price of a house or an apartment, leading to a couple of €1,000 as additional cost to consumers in that context. And this brings me to my second main finding, because I wonder, why do sellers not negotiate further the commission rate with real estate agent, given that these additional costs are so substantial? And what I do here is I run a survey experiment where I find that only 15% of sellers actually try to negotiate the commission rate, meaning that 85% of sellers do not even attempt to seek lower prices, meaning lower commission rates, with real estate agents. That is the key question. Based on the observations from my data, I propose two mechanisms. First, sellers may be confused by a term that real estate agents like to use, which is the regionally typical commission rate. This regionally typical commission rate is often used as a reference rate. However, by the way this measure is constructed, it omits lower commission rates which do exist in real life. And through this mechanism, real estate agents may possibly mislead sellers by arguing that the actual regionally typical commission rate is higher than what the data shows. The other mechanism is possibly due to sellers overestimating the ability of the real estate agent to compensate the commission cost through a higher selling price. What I see in the data is that even before the reform, where buyers formally paid the real estate agent, I see that sellers actually bore the economic or most of the economic cost through lower selling prices. But because sellers can never verify whether real estate agents actually achieve higher or lower prices, they could possibly misperceive the ability of the real estate agent. As real estate agents like to emphasize location, 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 I would like to stress to sellers that they should negotiate, negotiate, negotiate. The commission rate is freely negotiable, and they should not be influenced by any regionally typical commission rate. What we can learn from international regulations on real estate agents is that countries with the lowest commission rates are those that follow a very simple principle. The individual that hires the real estate agent also has to pay the real estate agent. So applying such a system appears to follow best practices, would also reduce the ability of real estate agents to implicitly coordinate prices through the regionally typical commission rate, and would provide and simplify the incentive for sellers to seek lower prices.